Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
You're in the screen. Hello everybody, this is Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and we are in Connecticut right now at Catch a Healthy Habit. We just finished a lecture on a daylight diet. Show the crowd here. Everyone make noise. And they're all enthusiastic, and they're all not eating, even though it's daylight. It's dark outside. They're all not eating. So we're going to do question and answers right now, and I just wanted to record this because people are always asking me wonderful questions, and I want to get it on tape here. So we're going to ask the first question now.
My name is Glenn Colello, owner of Catch a Healthy Habit Cafe, and earlier in the talk, Paul, you mentioned the importance of colonics, and I wanted you to get into that a little bit more and talk about gravity-fed versus the other types of colonics, and just share your knowledge on that.
All right, the question was about colonics and enemas also, which I like to talk about. They can be tremendously healthy, especially at the beginning when somebody's first starting out. It helps clean out the body from a lot of the waste that people have for years building up inside. However, there are some people that abuse colonics, and there are many people that do it the wrong way. The idea of colonic is to start a cleanse and for maintenance, and we should do it more often than the average person does. However, the idea is not to eat a terrible diet, take a colonic, and then eat a terrible diet, and then take another colonic. That's not the idea, and that's what a lot of people do. I think gravity-fed colonics are the way to go, and a good colon therapist really helps. Here's the thing, though, when you go to a colon therapist. I always recommend people to go to 2 or 3 different kinds. Because if you only go to one, you have no one to compare that to. If you go to 2, then you have a better idea. But if you go to 3, then you can kind of get an idea if one's better than the other or what to look out for and so on. A lot of people always ask me about digestion. How do we know how often we should do enemas, or how many colonics we should do, or anything. Are we chewing our food enough, or are we digesting our proteins? Well, a good colon therapist will be able to tell you all of that. But you don't just want to go to one and take it for granted what they say. You want to get an idea. If you go to one colon therapist and they say, well, you need a whole series of colonics and you should get them all this week, and if you go to another colon therapist and they say, you only need one more colonic, well, then you have a difference of opinion, and maybe a third one will give you a better idea. But when they all say the same thing, then you know you're on the right track. Okay? Okay, what's the next question?
My name is Lily, and do I have to say it for each question, or one Lily?
Each question, each time. Okay.
Organic versus farm fresh vegetables. Sometimes they're farm
Okay.
not organic.
The question was about organic versus farm fresh vegetables. Which is better? Because sometimes you can get vegetables right from the farmer's market that aren't necessarily organic, but other times you can get organic food from the health food store that's not necessarily fresh. I would say fresh is always best. Fresh is always best. And most farmers markets, or most people that are selling fresh produce, they minimally use the sprays even though they're not certified organic. I used to think they were just saying that, but I realized it's a lot of money to get named certified organic, so a lot of them don't use as much spray. And sometimes unorganic food can be more nutritious than organic food. The best thing would be to get farm fresh organic. That would be ideally the best. However, it all comes down to the quality of the soil. Most of the time, organic soil is better, and not necessarily all the time. But that's what you want to keep in mind. Fresh is number one importance. Organic fresh is best. And if you have to choose, though, I would definitely choose the fresh first. Okay. Yes.
Hi, my name is Alan. I was just wondering if you can comment on raw cacao. Is it a stimulant like regular
Raw what?
cacao chocolate?
Oh, I thought you said Coca-Cola. Okay. The question was about raw cacao. Or as I refer to it, crack-cow. Because it's one of the most addictive substances we can put in our body. But really, the problem with this is here, it's not about me being against something. Because when I first got into the raw food things, there was somebody mentioned, the cacao, and a friend of mine used to have a raw food company where she made raw chocolate, and it tasted great, but I never felt good after eating it. So then I encouraged her to make a dessert with carob in it, and it tasted delicious. The problem with cacao is, and carob is a much better sweetener or chocolate flavor than you use. The problem with the raw chocolate is it has theobromine in it, which is a toxic drug to the body. And it's very addictive, and there's many other problems on it. You can go on my website and see a whole report of this, but I wanted to get down to the bottom of this because there's so many people promoting this as a healthy superfood, which it is not. If somebody is going to use it and chooses to, use it the same way you would use vanilla, as a little flavoring where you would put a couple of drops every now and then in something to flavor it. But you don't use it as a superfood, which it is not. The problem is, so I looked all over I wanted it to be good. I want to be told I can eat as much fruit as I want, I can eat late at night, and chocolate is good for me. But again, I also want what's healthy, and I know these things aren't healthy. At Hippocrates Health Institute, we had the Raw Food Summit for 3 years in a row with the majority of leaders of the raw food movement, most of them being doctors from a raw food standpoint. Dr. Gabriel Cousins, Dr. Brian Clement, Dr. Rick Dina, Dr. James Cheriton, and even Dr. Talenton, who wasn't on the summit but is another raw food doctor. These are people that from a scientific standpoint are looking at it. It's the same agreement we came up after 3 years in a row is cacao, raw chocolate, is highly discouraged because it's not a healthy food. However, some people are able to do okay with it, but that's not mean it's good for the body. It means the body just hasn't adapted to it yet. Jeremy Safran, a good friend of mine who told the raw food community about raw chocolate a long time ago, also noticed the same thing and stopped doing the cacao and told everyone else about it. Now, there are some people out there that sell cacao and recommend cacao, and many of them have a wonderful heart, and they really care about people, and they really believe that it's good for people, and they're doing what they believe the best is to help people. However, there are other people out there that know it's not good. They're very wise when it comes to health, but they continue to sell it because the majority of their business is based on it, and even though they themselves have experienced problems, they still promote it. So my thing is, what I would tell people now is, you don't need it. It's not a superfood, but if you want to continue doing it, use it more as a flavoring than as this magic superfood that everyone needs. Just recently, and this is the first time I'm saying this because I've been studying this issue for a long time, just recently I had a good conversation with Gabriel Cousins, who himself researched cacao extensively from a scientific standpoint and found out that yes, it does have good properties to it, but it has negative as well. But he found out if it's taken by themselves, the antioxidants would be beneficial to the body, and it also has some inflammatory, helpful things in it as well. However, if it's taken with a sweetener of any type, whether natural or unnatural, and if more than 11 beans are taken in one day, it's very toxic and unhealthy to the body. So he's now recommending if somebody's going to do it by itself and not with any sweeteners. Another big problem I have is the majority of people out there in the raw food community today, they're not just eating the cacao bean by itself, and most of them aren't doing it for a health standpoint. Most of them are doing it because of the flavoring, and most of them are doing it because they're being deceived to be told that it is some kind of wonderful food, and it also has, you know, a highly stimulant to it. The caffeine and theobromine in it. So we wouldn't recommend cacao. And again, it's not coming from me that's saying it's bad. It's from all these people with the scientific background. There's a lot of people out there that are promoting it as being a great food. But I tell you, I see people at just about all my lectures that have had negative experiences with that. So if you're going to do it, be very wise and stop listening to what I'm saying or anyone else is saying, but realize it doesn't take the replace healthy fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Okay.
This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.